New Year's resolutions don't work. We know that 90% of people who set New Year's resolutions, they will not have fulfilled those resolutions. And in fact, most people by February have already jumped ship, have abandoned their New Year's resolutions. But we need to understand why they don't work in order to actually cultivate something that does. It's incredibly powerful to be at the beginning of a year, to go, okay, clean slate, anything can happen now. That's an amazing feeling. And each year, like clockwork, we are surrounded by the media telling us this is it. This is when everything changes. You have the power. And of course you do, but the answer is not New Year's resolutions. And in this video today, I'm going to tell you exactly why they don't work and what you can do instead. So the number one reason why resolutions don't work is because they're coming from an inauthentic place. If you feel pressured into making a resolution, as 69% of North Americans do, then you're not making it from a place of meaning to you. You're doing it because that's what everyone else is doing. And you're not going to have the drive to stick with it. In fact, the motivation was only to make the resolution, not necessarily for what the resolution actually was. Number two reason, we haven't invested in the why behind it. That kind of ties into the first one. But if you haven't understood why that resolution matters to you, then it's going to be superficial and you are not going to necessarily take the time or the commitment or have the authentic motivation to follow through with it. Let's take a really common standard New Year's resolution like losing weight. Well, why does it matter to you? What impact is it going to have on your life? Is it from a health perspective? Is it because you want to preserve your health or you want to have more energy? Is it because you feel that by losing weight, you're going to look a certain way and that's going to have implications into your relationships or your career? What is the looking a certain way impact going to have? Do you want to lose weight because you want to feel that you have more energy to commit to other things in your life? And then what are those other things that you need the energy for? Are those actually the things that should be taking the focus, not the losing weight? Now, and when we start understanding the why behind what our resolutions are, that's when we start to uncover some really interesting information about our actual drives. Take another example. Maybe your resolution is to travel more this year. Okay, well, that's exciting. That's cool. That's adventurous. But why? Why does it matter to you to travel more? What is it going to bring to your life? How is it going to affect your relationships or your work or your sense of self or your well-being? And once you know that, well, then why does that matter? Like if you know that, okay, it's going to make you happier to travel, why is happiness important to you? I know it sounds like a ridiculous question, but if we're not asking these questions, then we don't get that sense of motivation. And we're also maybe not on the right track. When you start to ask those questions, when you start to understand the why, then actually you may realize that the thing that you're going after, you're looking in the wrong place for it. So for example, that travel, and then you start looking at the why behind it, and the why is to escape the boredom of your day-to-day life. Well, maybe you need to be looking at and addressing why you're so bored in your day-to-day life. What's going on that you could change or that you could resolve to do differently that may offer the same sense of relief or release, but from a more authentic place? When you understand the benefit it's going to have to your life, that's where the motivation to stick with it comes from. The number three reason why New Year's resolutions don't work is because we stack up way too many of them. Most people don't stick to just one resolution. They'll have 4 or 5 things that they want to improve in their life. But the pressure that that's putting on you, especially if you haven't done the other work, you haven't done the why, and you have just kind of gone with the trendy resolutions that are out there, it means that you're going to get that sense of failure amplified if you don't stick to it. But it's not always realistic to load yourself up with the burden of, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this. Well, what impact is it going to have on you when you falter with one of them? What we tend to see is that there's a domino effect. If you let one thing go, then the other things are also going to be let go. or you're going to feel the sense of pressure or the sense of obligation or the sense of guilt to yourself that you're not able to keep it up. And that then erodes any natural sense of motivation that you may have had. And what we end up doing there is we end up backsliding. So any progress that we've made, we don't just fall back to ground level, we end up going further back, because that sense of having failed in keeping that resolution, it can have a detrimental effect on your sense of self, your very core. So by filling yourself up with, oh, I'm going to take 5 New Year's resolutions because they all seem great, well, actually, the pressure you're putting on yourself is going to have a detrimental negative effect. You're going to be worse off than if you hadn't made any resolutions to begin with. The fourth reason why New Year's resolutions don't work is because we're grabbing at the trendy ones. And when we pick something that is just what we're happy to say to other people, that isn't maybe digging down into the core of who we are, then it's not even going to have the kind of effect that we need it to have. The point is, it's got to come from you, from a place of authenticity, from a place of integrity, in order for it to make any kind of difference. So this year, park the concept of New Year's resolutions and instead start asking yourself, why do I want to make a change in my life? What impact do I want to have on the world around me? And how am I going to make that happen? I've got some amazing resources that I've put in the description box below to get you started on that journey.